Thanks for checking out another clip of the Cashflow Contractor. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. Click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So they're looking for standardization. They're looking for how they can turn their dollars into assets that can run without them, essentially, or with people that they can easily find to run the asset. What are some ways outside of just the standardizing that in growing revenue and margin, what are some ways that owners can increase the value beyond that?
Yeah, and I think the biggest one that I see, and I've kind of mentioned it on some, in conversation, and when we kind of take a look at business is culture. And I think the biggest thing that kind of is maybe a potential misnomer, especially like in this, kind of what I would call the lower middle market space, when we're talking, businesses from, maybe 5 to, 150, 200 million in revenue, and kind of a transaction size in the 10 to like 150 million is culture and, management style culture, the employee engagement is all super critical because at the end of the day, whether it's a business service business or manufacturing, I mean, there's obviously there's assets, hard assets, inventory, steel, HVAC equipment, trucks, like all this sort of stuff, but there's people that need to operate them. And, at least I haven't seen anything, coming soon where AI is going to replace an HVAC tech or a plumber or, any of these essential services. And actually one of the slides at Pantheon, they showed kind of the list of industries, kind of top 10 industries that are at least, kind of most likely to get replaced by AI, least likely, and trades was the last one on the list.
Yeah.
And so kind of making sure that, people are the most important thing. So, aligning
Christian,
incentives. Yeah.
Well, no, I agree with you 100%. Of the deals I've seen that fell apart, more than a few, even after they were consummated, they're culture deals. I mean, the people weren't what they thought. How do PE groups or buyers attempt to measure that? I mean, everybody just got to be smiling while they're visiting. And you haven't even told the people that are supposed to be smiling that you're selling. But literally, how do they go out and evaluate that?
Yeah. Well, and so, here's an interesting statistic that kind of I've, kind of come across, and it's, it may be anecdotal, I don't know if it's quantifiable, but just in kind of my conversations with some of the large kind of consolidated platforms, it's like somewhere between 7 to 8 deals out of 10 are basically, sourced proprietarily, meaning no banker, no advisor involved. So it's the private equity owner and the platform that they're, the business. I mean, they're basically making that one-to-one handshake, with the business owner and kind of, Martin, to your point, hey, I'll give you $10 million. Well, sounds great, but is that really the right value? And so, where kind of the rubber meets the road is you sign up under an LOI for $10 billion. And then the buyer comes in, starts getting to know you, start running numbers, I mean, they're looking every single interaction they're measuring.
And they're also trying to wear you out because upon further evaluation, we're offering $5 billion.
And then here's why.
And you're tired, right? Well, you're exhausted, so yeah, I'll take it. I mean, that doesn't happen all the, but go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So, and so that kind of was a statistic that really kind of struck true to me was like, all right, wow, this is very interesting.
Christian, sorry, I'm going to press pause really quick. I think what you said is really significant. You said 7 or 8 out of 10 deals are basically the private equity side approaching the business owner to go under LOI for the purchase of a business. What is the equivalent to that? Because I think sometimes we talk in these business terms and some of the listeners are going to be like, okay, cool. But like, that's kind of ridiculous that they're not even doing the due diligence of like, what is my company even worth? Like, how can I set up to structure this the best possible? Like, am I right?
That is absolutely correct. Yes.
So like, what's a good analogy that we can use for that? Like selling a car and not, I don't know. Well, is that a good analogy?
Yeah. I mean, it's well, yeah.
No realtor, no attorney selling your house.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally like someone
without mowing the yard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's literally like someone coming up and trying to buy your house from you and just giving you a price, and you don't even know what the comps are in the area. You don't, I mean, It's like taking candy from a baby is kind of what it feels like, honestly.
I mean, it's almost like, kind of, maybe it's like the HGTV, again, it's maybe like the HGTV, like the house flippers, right? Like, I mean, they're buying, distressed properties or, properties that they find that they think they can get a good deal on and turn them around for a profit. And that's kind of what we've seen kind of transpire is, hey, I sold my business to these guys. I like them, right? I mean, they valued my business a lot more than, my other really good friend, Tom. Tom's plumbing. I mean, he runs a pretty good business, but, you as the external person don't know what's on the inside. And, Tom got a 5 times multiple and I got an 8. I mean, there's just all those different factors that weigh in. I mean, it's really just kind of, you're buying the first thing on the lot in terms of, a car hits the market, right? Without shopping around for pricing exactly, et cetera.
Those guys have a sign out that says, we buy junk, we sell antiques.
That's great.
Yeah.
No,
Okay. So I took us off base, but I think that's such an interesting stat that you mentioned. I don't want that to go by. It's basically just saying, hey, before someone approaches you, do your own diligence to figure out what you're worth, but also, just like in your instance of the remodel, if I changed the countertops, I could increase the price by, a significant proportion of money, and it would cost me just a little bit of time and a little bit of energy to get that done. It's totally worthwhile. That's essentially
100%.
what your firm does as an advisor.
Khalil, I don't think you took us off point. I think that's the most important point that I would like to see people get today is be aware there are things you can know that will work to your advantage, and you've got to find people who can help you with those.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I'm not sure exactly where you were going after that. If you remember, great. If not, we can go somewhere else. But I just wanted to get that point out.
Yeah. Well, and a real live anecdote. I mean, we closed a deal back in May where, that was a 1.5 year long engagement. We came in and we started, kind of the process. Our client had an electrical kind of commercial contracting business underneath. That was kind of the legacy business that he had started. And then kind of that branched into doing some HVAC work. And then he ended up starting a plumbing business. And then he kind of pulled off the resi side, kind of put the resi business together. And that was, kind of in growth mode and growing. And the commercial electrical business was there. I mean, when we got engaged, he originally, he wanted to sell both businesses like at the same time. And we said, hey, well, let's pump the brakes. There's some work that needs to be done over here on the resi side. Let's kind of work on that while we simultaneously, kind of work on offloading, and finding a buyer for the electrical business. And so that was a 1.5 year long engagement. And what it did is it basically kind of set the stage for the business as a standalone. And originally kind of we were thinking, hey, this is going to be an add-on transaction to some of the bigger players kind of in the market that he had known over the years. His friends had sold to these guys. He liked their business model. They were all telling him what was great. And when we went through a process, we had all those groups through, and then we found a group that said, hey, we want to take kind of your plumbing, sewer, drain business, and we want to create a platform around that. And that's going to be kind of the first 1 and 2 trades, with HVAC being third and electrical being fourth, where we think we can help, you along with your team and some of the other areas in the market. Like, we think we can grow this to 25 million of EBITDA for free in the next 2.5 to 3 years. Oh, and by the way, we've done it before. So it was kind of like, our client kind of walked away out of that meeting, was like, whoa, this is really interesting.
Thanks for checking out a clip from the Cashflow Contractor. We have full episodes where we go deep on topics that help you grow a construction business that runs without you, so you can have less stress, more time, more money. Now, we've got other videos, other clips, but if you want to check out the full episode for this clip, you can click wherever our editor put it. It might be here, it might be there, it might be over my face, I don't know. But thank you for checking us out. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. So subscribe or check out a full episode wherever you get podcasts.